Ready? Imagine yourself as a parent in an event where you must decide whether or not to vaccinate your child or even yourself. You've read on the internet about the rare cases where vaccinations have resulted in negative side effects, but you've also researched its countless benefits. You wonder whether the good outweighs the bad enough to put your child's life in the hands of vaccines. On some occasions, parents are unsure about the benefits of vaccines due to the internet's exposure to the negative side effects that rarely occur. While most pose the individual rights concept, in reality, vaccines' sole and successful purpose is effectively fight, prevent, and completely eradicate infectious diseases, as well as promote widespread immunity. Because of this, it has been proven to be beneficial to start vaccinating at a young age. My name is Jessica, and in my audience tonight, I have my daughter Lorelai and my friends Tyler and Tiana. My speech involves the importance of vaccinations, and I've used websites like the CDC, the Centers of Disease, the AAP, American Academy of Pediatrics, and the WHO, the World Health Organization, and my doctor, who shall remain nameless, to help me gather information surrounding vaccines. When we started our class, our professor had asked us to share a little bit of details about ourselves with each and every one of you. Some of you may have read what I wrote, some of you may not have. Some of you may remember, and some of you may not, and that is totally fine. But because of this, I want to start off with my personal story of why I feel it's super important to vaccinate. When I was pregnant with Lorelai, I tested positive for Group B strep. During this time, I paid little attention to what that meant and what my doctor had to say about it. I didn't ask any questions, and when the results came back positive, I thought nothing more of it. She told me she would give me my treatment when I gave birth, and I gave my consent. But like many other women, they also test positive. The difference was she got bacterial meningitis. So one morning, 5 weeks into our pregnancy, she came down with a fever, and we went to the clinic at 8 a.m. when the doors opened. Everything tested fine, but we were also only 4 hours into the disease. Sunday morning, she didn't wake up, and we went to the ER, and then we went to Children's for 2 months. They tested her for everything, and the doctor said, "I'm sorry, I'm not sure what it is." A disease specialist came in, and that's who diagnosed her with bacterial meningitis, late term. Now I got lucky, and I got to bring her back home, but that doesn't mean that our journey was easy or smooth. There were many times the doctors had to remind us of how lucky we were that we even still had her despite not knowing the long-term effects of what we had. We have lots of specialists, and we visit them frequently. I even had to get consent from her primary doctor for her treatment because she hasn't seen a bacterial meningitis case in her entire career. Now, the story is important for later on in my speech because many doctors haven't seen bacterial meningitis in their whole careers, not just mine. However, in the means of dealing with infectious diseases that endanger individuals and public health have evolved over the years. In 1789, however, the most protective technology used to prevent epidemics was introduced by physician Edward Jenner. Vaccine efficiently continues to develop and become more advanced, producing immunity to infectious diseases from 90 to 100% of the time today. Because of this, millions of people worldwide are immunized from fatal epidemics. You may be asking yourself, what is a vaccine? The CDC defines vaccines as a substance given to patients that provide acquired immunity to a specific disease. They contain either a weakened part of the virus or an inactive form created from a dead version of that virus, which causes the body to produce antibodies that will attack the virus if the body later comes into contact with this disease. Thus, a person can reduce the severity of the disease or eliminate the contraction of the disease completely. Vaccines are usually administered through a needle injection into your deltoid or thigh, but they can also be given orally and through your nasal route. I want to start by diving into why doctors feel that the biggest reasons that parents don't vaccinate, and that is the cost. However, vaccines.gov helped me break down the potential of out-of-pocket costs. I learned that most health insurance plans cover recommended vaccines for both children and adults at little to no cost to you. And even if you don't have a health insurance, you can still get vaccinated. You may be able to do it for a free or low cost to you. Most private insurance plans are required to cover recommended vaccines without charging you. Military insurances like TRICARE cover all the recommended vaccines for people currently serving in the military and their dependents. Depending upon your plan, there may be a copay or a fee for getting vaccinated. And if you don't have health insurance, that's no problem. There are ways to get vaccines for children and adults for free. There are programs such as the VFC, Vaccines for Children, which provide all the recommended vaccines at no cost for children who are under 19. All you have to do is qualify for Medicaid, don't have insurance, can't afford out-of-pocket insurance, or a Native American or an Alaska Native. Local health centers and state health departments and federally funded health centers also provide preventative services, wellness care, including vaccines, on a sliding scale. Your state health department can tell you where to go for free, including community centers, schools, and religious centers. I would like to next dive into the negative effects of people choosing against vaccines and why it should be stopped. This affects all of us in some way, shape, or form. Maybe your parents or guardians didn't want you to be vaccinated, but now as an adult, you choose to be vaccinated. Maybe you are not fully vaccinated, but the effects of those unvaccinated still affect you, because choosing against vaccinations affects your generation and future generations. Recently, the media has reported a recent outbreak of measles, which is up to more than 120 cases due to not vaccinating children. Back in 1963, measles had infected over 4 million people every year in the United States alone, with complications ranging from diarrhea, pneumonia, and brain inflammation, and sometimes resulted in lifelong disabilities. The measles vaccine was introduced in 1963, driving the numbers down from 4 million to 0. And in the year 2000, the measles was officially declared eradicated. Measles isn't the only disease that vaccines protect against. The WHO, World Health Organization, lists 26 diseases for which vaccines are available, from measles to rubella to the everyday common flu. From the moment you are born to retirement, there are vaccines available to protect you. I have 2 schedules. One is for pediatrics, and one is for adults and elderly. The top row tells you the age of when it's recommended that you get it. This part right here, which you probably can't see, is the name of the medication. Every clinic is different, so I can't guarantee us what your doctor is going to be giving you. This column tells you what you are vaccinating against, and because you see 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, it's recommended you get 3 doses. For Hep B, it is also recommended that within the first 24 hours, your child is given a Hep B shot. The flu shot here is given annually once the child is 6 months. If your child is that young, you usually get 2 doses 1 month apart. After 9 years of age, 1 dose is required annually. That's completely your choice. This one, same thing, but for adults and 1 year older. Mostly just boosters like shingles vaccines to help keep your immunity up there. As you notice, there are lots of shots on that list, and sometimes that can be intimidating for young parents, but don't be intimidated and just simply talk to your doctors and talk to them about it. There's lots of information available. It's just about going to the right websites to be getting information. The fact that vaccines save lives and protect our children is one of the greatest achievements for public health and has been downplayed in recent years. Diseases like polio, measles, diphtheria, and rubella were all once very common in the United States, with theaters and swimming pools closing over concerns of outbreaks. But now in the year 2019, practicing clinicians and staff have never seen a patient with polio, rubella, or bacterial meningitis. Same with me. My doctor hadn't seen it. They had no idea. Modern vaccines are highly effective and safe, with the most serious side effect being exceptionally rare and much less serious than the disease themselves. Yet misinformation about vaccines is still widely reported. The CDC reports that measles vaccines alone have prevented more than 21 million deaths in the world since the year 2000. Even the flu shots that were given every fall can save lives. In the year 2017 to 18, the flu season, 80,000 people died. Most of them were children who were not vaccinated. The list could go on, with many Americans, 49%, of adolescents receiving the recommended dose of HPV. Only 49, that's less than half. That vaccine protects boys and girls from developing certain cancers. Cancers like cervical, anal, mouth, and throat. It was reported that only 1 in 5 teenagers, which is approximately 4.5 million, have not received the vaccination for bacterial meningitis, which can lead to an otherwise healthy child facing organ failure, amputation, and death within 24 hours. Another big reason people have chosen not to vaccinate is the belief that certain vaccines are linked to autism. This stems from the famous Wakefield study in 1998 on 12 children that introduced the idea of combined measles, mumps, and rubella, also known as your MMR, had been linked to autism. This has had an overwhelming amount proved against it. It has not only been proven wrong, but has also been proven as corrupt, as the research article entitled Wakefield linked the MMR vaccine and autism as fraudulent, and the doctor who wrote that article was said to have lost his license. Because we are choosing not to vaccinate, we are once making eradicated diseases come back. Diseases that were once affected our great-grandparents and their loved ones. Therefore, I feel it's important for us to protect ourselves and our loved ones by choosing to vaccinate and to help keep eradicated diseases eradicated. I hope you found this informational and persuasive. If you have questions, I urge you to contact your doctors or visit the CDC website, where you can find a plethora of information. Thank you.